Yeah, actions are louder than words. Minister, fracture, wombat, nerve. Form when speaking, top form when I'm speaking. Come take a walk in the deep end.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a very eventful year, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's 2019 last year, big year. But I want 2020 to be an even bigger year. So.
Well, before we get into that, we've got a massive fight on this weekend at the UFC, as per my hat.
Yeah, Cowboy McGregor.
Yeah. Which way are you going on that fight?
It's I saw a video that he just uploaded recently where he was talking to an amateur fighter about losing and what it feels like to lose, but how to like come back from the loss. So a lot of stuff that you're seeing now that he's getting a bit older and he's become a dad, we're seeing more like I don't know. I like that. I like that side of Cowboy. So I'm kind of rooting for Cowboy, but I think if McGregor's got his shit together, like he's one of the best fighters in the world that he's proven. So, like I think a lot of people have written him off after the Khabib fight, like they think he's crap, but I still think he's one of the best in the world. He's just got to like, obviously when he's doing all this fame and all this money and all this, that sort of stuff, that's going to get in the way of your training. Like 100% going to get in the way. So, hopefully if he comes back and he's got the same motivation of old.
The McGregor we're used to seeing before the whole showbiz took
over. I feel like he could definitely put Cowboy away. He could just mix things up really well, that he doesn't see the shots coming and then one catches him and makes it a quick night for him.
Yeah, well, I'm a massive fan of Cowboy. I used to be a massive fan of McGregor before he became Mr. WWE.
Yeah.
But I think if Dad Cowboy rocks up, the Cowboy that pulls out the 9-punch combos, official with a kick, he needs to grapple with him, I think.
I liked his work. I can't remember the guy that he fought, but he fought a young sort of fiery kid, and he kept kneeing the body. He kept working the body. Like every time the kid closed distance, bang, he kneed the body. And Conor's going to have to close distance to land his shots. He can't rely on having the reach advantage and staying out of range. He's going to have to come in and use his boxing. And in that moment, I feel like some damage.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that Cowboy said he was going to stand up strictly.
Well, McGregor said, I think he did a tweet. He's like, first one to go for a shot as a cow bitch.
Yeah, so. First one to shoot's a cow bitch. I would put him away.
Yeah.
But if he can withstand the first few rounds,
let's see it go like in the like fourth and fifth round, just to see if McGregor can either put those doubters away with if he can get like a finish in those later rounds or finish strong in those later rounds, or if we see that Cowboy's gonna do what he does best and win those last rounds.
Yeah, it'll be good to see athlete McGregor back.
Yeah,
and Showman. But regardless, we're in for a good fight. I think it's a bit bullshit that he's going to get a title shot straight after that, especially when it's in a division that they're not fighting in at the moment. So
yeah,
but that's the good. All right. Well, forget about the famous guys. Let's talk about you.
Oh yeah, local famous guys.
Yeah, the local heroes. How did you get into MMA?
Me, I saw it on TV once. I remember it just glanced past, flicking through the channels, and I was like instantly intrigued by it. I was like, what the hell was that? So I started doing research and stuff, and came across the first fighter I came across was Wanderlei Silva. When I looked up,
right here.
Nice.
On the wall.
Yeah, I did a seminar where he came to Australia in Dandenong. That was ages ago. But so I came across him and I started watching all his highlight videos and stuff, and I was like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. Like I want to be a part of this. So,
was it Pride or UFC?
Yeah, Pride. It was like he was in the UFC at the time, but all the highlight videos that I saw from his Pride days.
Yeah.
His fights against Rampage and stuff in Pride.
It was juicy as fuck.
Yeah.
It was just like a berserker.
Yeah. It was so I was like, I love that. I love that side of it. I still love that side. Like whenever I see the guys that get in those wars, like, Robbie Lawlers and stuff, like they're my favorite fighters to watch. So I wanted to train. So I found a local gym in the area that I was living at the time and started doing, I started off with Muay Thai. and but then some things happened, and I ended up getting back into it later on, and I came across a friend at a party, and he was telling me about that he started training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I was like, oh yeah, that's that MMA stuff. I didn't know Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was its own sport or anything, like the gi and stuff. I'd never seen that before. So, yeah, he was showing me all these bruises on his. He's like, it's mad, and I was like, all right, I'm interested. I went down to that gym, and um, that's where I met. That's the Extreme MMA where my coach now, John Donahue, was coaching at the time,
Yeah,
and
that was my first gym too.
yeah,
In Chadston?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
upstairs?
No, this was when they'd gone down back to the ground level. So yeah, not the infamous upstairs.
Yeah, they used to get hot as fuck in the
Yeah.
summer. Yeah.
So yeah, and then as I said, I didn't know much about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or any of the guys that did it, and like I just knew MMA. I was just an MMA guy, and um, I realized real quickly how vulnerable you are on the ground. I was
Yeah.
like, man, I don't know shit all on the ground. Like before I trained, me and my friends would just like put gloves on and spar each other, and it was like, you know, you kind of have a base idea of how to throw a punch and like how to defend a punch, but on the ground, I had absolutely no clue at all. Like on the ground,
Yeah.
no idea at all. Like someone puts me in a submission, I don't know how the hell to get out of it. Your initial instincts are the worst things you can do. Straighten your arms out and leave your neck up to get choked. Like all those instincts are just,
Turn out of it and you end up
yeah, you end up doing horrible stuff. So, I realized that I needed to focus on jiu-jitsu, on just pure jiu-jitsu, because I was like, I can't, like, I've got to figure this stuff out. I got to figure this chess game out.
It's very humbling.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't trained in 9 years, and I went back for my first class this week. I got whooped by featherweights.
Yeah.
Like, these guys were climbing all over me, choking me. I struggled to get out of the mount. Like, these are the things that I used to be able to do easily.
Yeah.
And it's just, it doesn't matter how big you are. It's humbling. It makes you realize that it's all about technique, dedication, training. All right, so currently you're at JD's.
Yep.
And you do your full-time training there.
Yep. So I train Mo at JD's. Obviously, he's my head coach.
And he's an OG in this country.
Yeah.
I remember when I was looking up MMA, BJJ schools. Now they're a dime a dozen.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
You can flick 10-cent coins out the window and hit 10 gyms.
Yeah.
But back then there was fuck all gyms.
Yeah.
There was a few main guys. It was like I think it was Peter Devine, John Donahue, and there was a few others, and that was the closest. But yeah, he was one of the OGs around here as well.
Yeah.
It wasn't as easy to find the BJJ gym.
No, it wouldn't be. Yeah, he was one of the first guys, I think, to bring it to Australia. And suit really old school with his style of training. And that's something he still continues now with his newer club. Obviously, with the newer generations and stuff, coaches kind of, I think a lot of the old school coaches have kind of changed their ways a little bit to suit more, everyone. But, the old school in him will still come out, especially with us guys that are competing and stuff. He'll bring it out. But I love working with the old school coaches because there's certain values and stuff that I really appreciate and really respect. And those old school coaches are really like that. Like I work with John Donahue. I train under Travis Grubb as well. I train under Nick Cara for my striking, and I've had the pleasure to work a bit with Ed Beverlock when I went overseas. So these guys are all, everyone will say they're all old school.
They're all monsters.
Yeah, they're the scariest dudes you could ever pick to have coached. Like me, I'm not a scary dude at all, and I pick these most scary guys that intimidate me all the time. But the thing about them is that they are intimidating because they are tough, but they're mentally tough. They're physically tough because they've done the hard yards, they've done the training, and but they're also incredibly good people and 100% loyal. Like when you give them time and day and you put in the work, put in the effort, you'll get it back with those guys. and that's what I really appreciate. We really respect from the old school guys.
Coach Ed and Trav, I know really well. But yeah, I haven't had a pleasure of meeting Carol or JD one-on-one. But like you say, they're hardcore, old school, good values, and it's exactly the type of guy you want around you.
Yeah.
If you're going to build, especially when you're in the amateur scene at the moment.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to sharpen your tools.
Yeah, and they're all those guys. The thing that they have in common is like the fundamentals. They push so hard on the fundamentals. You know, we don't. You know, the fancy stuff that comes later on when you build that. It's all about building that solid base and those basic skills, because that's what's going to save you at the end of the day. And that's what I found has gotten me through fights and those hard moments in fights, is going back to the fundamentals and going back to those instincts that are ingrained.
Yeah, well, especially when you talk about your jits, with JD's jits, he's like, some people take offense when you say this, but it's basic jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. It's 100% fundamentals.
Yeah, it's not about doing, what's that move called, origami roll or something.
Yeah.
None of that fancy stuff.
No.
Just hard, old school jits that works all the time.
Yeah, and a lot of the fundamental stuff will shut a lot of that stuff down, like the fancy rolls and the fancy techniques. That a lot of it can be shut down with just basic hip control.
Yeah, well, you've definitely got a great team behind you. What do you do about your diet, your conditioning?
Well, with my diet, I recently had the pleasure of working with Michelle Reeves, and she fixed my diet, because my diet was kind of just eat whatever I want. I'm pretty blessed with Italian genes where I can eat whatever I want and not put on weight.
Yeah, it changes when you get older, right?
Yeah, that's what my dad said. He's like, once you hit a certain age, and it's going to hit you. But for now, I'm blessed with that, but I didn't realize how deprived I was, because once I started eating right, now whenever I sort of get off the wagon a little bit, I feel it. And I'm like, man, that's how I was feeling all the time. Like, so
do you feel more energetic now?
Yeah, I feel more energetic, less hungry, just more full, and just recovering better. I wake up a little bit better. Before I'd wake up real, not so right, and just have to push myself really to get through the day. Whereas now I feel like I'm recovering a little bit better.
Shout out Michelle Reeves Body Transitions. She's the best in the biz. Go see her if you want to. Even if you're not a fighter, you want to get in shape.
No, yeah, she works with a lot of people that are just losing weight or trying to for all sorts of reasons. Yeah.
All right, and now do you do strength and conditioning and stuff as well? Do you?
It's not something I do a whole lot of. I was conditioning, of course, is like I run every day. I'll do running. So
which is a fundamental.
Yeah.
A lot of fighters don't run.
Yeah, just road work.
Yeah.
And again,
you have to run.
Yeah.
You have to fucking run. I don't run, but I'm not a fighter, so I'm a runner. But if you're fighting, you have to run.
Yeah.
It's like the basis. A good friend of mine had a student. No, he wasn't a student. He was talking to another fighter, and he was saying, "Do you run?" He's like, "No, I do this, I do that." He's like, "No, you have to fucking run."
Yeah, because it's not fun. That's the thing about and that's something that the old school mentality of these coaches have ingrained in me, is the mindset, and it's like drills aren't fun. You know what I mean? Going on just doing armbar drill isn't fun. It's like, oh, why can't I'll just do some fancy stuff instead? But when you got a coach that drills that into you, it's like, all right, running's not fun, but I know the benefits from it. I know what I get out of it, so I'm gonna just suck it up and do it.
Yeah, it's absolutely essential. So you don't go to you don't do any of that CrossFit kind of plyometric training?
No, not really.
Kettlebells.
Every now and then I'll see some equipment, and I'll do a quick little something, but it's not really in my routine schedule. My training's very old school. What you see in Rocky movies is basically what I'm doing.
So you get your conditioning through your drills and your...
Yeah, we'll just do hard drills. So, and then I'll go on a bag and I'll do 100 kicks, just the same kick, because then I'm getting technique out of it as well as, and it's practical conditioning.
Does it become second nature to you when you drill so much? Does it become implanted in your muscle memory?
Yeah, that's how I feel. Especially on the ground, when you drill a certain move over and over and over again, you'll find that as soon as it presents itself, bang, you're in that position. You don't know anything about it. It's just
working It's working, and we got proof here because we're going to talk about the big 2019 you had. Absolutely ripper year for you. It was the first year, to be completely honest, that I followed you.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I think it was a coming out year for me.
It was my favourite moment was when you got the demolition belt. Now, who'd you fight?
That's what I fought Rizwan from Absolute MMA. So, good opponent, good comes out of a good gym.
Epic fucking fight. I was cage-side for that one.
I think it was one of those ones like Riz is a cool guy. Like he was like we're messaging each other before the fight, like and stuff. Like
is that allowed?
You know. I'm sure. The school mentality coaches wouldn't appreciate it, but you know he actually approached me, and you know so it was kind of like we knew that we had this mutual thing going on where you know we're going to be friendly with each other, but I just
each other when it gets in there.
Yeah, exactly. Well, for me, regardless, no matter who it is, as soon as I'm in that state of mind where it's fight time, it's go time. It's like I'm ready to hunt the person down. It's like that's just how it is for me.
So you fought was one at Demolition.
Yep.
You got the flyweight title.
Yep.
Now we're talking about how he's a really good guy. And
yeah, I was just saying like, yeah, good guy. We'll message each other before and we'll talk to each other before the fight. And it was kind of like we knew the way we matched up, it was going to be a good one, you know. And styles make fights. There's no way that this fight is going to be boring just from the way we both are. So I knew I was in for a good one. I would have liked to be more dominant to avoid the whole fight of the night thing, just to get a nice clean win. But these type of fights, I think, are good early on. You know, they test your will a little bit and forces you to dig deep. And I'm comfortable there. I'm comfortable with my back up against the wall, and you know, in the dying moments, like I've had that several times now in my fight game, and obviously I've had it in training and in life. So you know, that's a position.
That armbar though.
Yeah, I thought that was the end of the fight.
It, man.
Yeah.
Like, and there's a video where I think one you made with slow mo. You just see the elbow pop out of the way. Props to Rizwan for getting up.
Yeah, he's tough because like as soon as he escaped out of it, he started punching me. So it was like he wasn't out of the fight. You know, that wasn't going to stop him. So he wanted. I think he was hungry for that. He wanted to win that. Because I hit him a lot. I put damage to his legs, and he just refused to quit.
And I was lucky enough to be cage side for that one, and I was, that was just before we got you on with Kingdom. Yeah. I was like, wow, I really have to go talk to this guy. I came up to you after the fight. Where is it?
Yeah, my signature.
Got your signature there. Put it straight up on the. Who else are you next to? You're next to Vanderlei Silva, Bus Rudin, Kid Campbell.
Some good company.
Ken Shamrock. Corey Reeves. So, yeah, one of the first. I'm planning on filling this whole wall up with gloves eventually. So, you're one of the first to get on there.
Yeah, nice.
Alright, and yeah, so you got the belt.
Yeah.
And then after that, you went over to Bahrain for the Worlds.
Yeah, soon after. I think it was only a couple of weeks after. I didn't cop any of that damage in the fight, so I was good to go. And yeah, flew down to Bahrain in the Middle East.
I like how you say that. Bahrain.
Yeah, that's picking up the accent from being there. You know, a bit cultured now. So.
Is it over there? It's really hot, muggy.
Yeah, it's kind of like the heat is kind of similar to Australia heat, like Australia summer. Even though Melbourne hasn't been that hot, but like a hot day in Melbourne, but it's constant. It doesn't really cool off, and the weather's consistent over there, so that was different. Just consistently hot each day.
Well, I've been to what was it, Dubai.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's anything similar to that, but I walked out of the hotel and it was like a kick in the face.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was just thick.
Yeah. 19-year-olds driving Ferraris and shit around this crazy country. It was a good experience for you?
Yeah. Well, it was the first time I actually traveled overseas. I'd never been overseas prior to that. So that was an in itself to travel. And then it was soon in the country. It was game time. It was getting ready, to fight. But I love the IMAF experience. I love the Team Australia vibe. Getting along. Like I got to meet so many people from different states that some of them I didn't know of or anything. So it was a real good experience just to meet these guys, and then even getting to like meet guys from different countries that were competing. It was a surreal experience. It really was. Like you're in the same hotel with all the other fighters. So it's like every fighter from all different parts of the world, all living, sleeping, eating in the same same building. So it was definitely nothing that I've experienced in the fight game comes close to that experience.
You thinking about going back again, or?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I said, I enjoyed the experience so much, and I got so much out of it. And I saw the levels to the game over there. There's different levels. There's some high level guys over there that I think people don't realize because they see the word amateur and they don't really get it. But those guys are like professional level fighters fighting it in the amateur level, and
there's guys there. There was one. I think he was fighting for Bahrain or Estonia.
Yeah, they recruit
that
guys.
guy was like a world champ sambo guy or something.
Yeah, a lot of those guys, like national champions in different areas of martial arts, just come.
Sambo's not that far from MMA. Like it's
no, and we've seen how well it translates. Like the guys that have come from sambo.
Oh, fucking Fedor says it all, man. One of the best ever thought. And then you came back from Bahrain, and another accomplishment, you got your purple belt.
Yeah, so.
Surprised you're not wearing your purple belt right now.
I was walking around the gym with it just yesterday, but yeah, that was the belt system in jiu-jitsu is something that I follow along. I know the modern day MMA fighter doesn't, not everyone does the traditional Brazilian jiu-jitsu with the gi and stuff, but that's kind of where my journey sort of began with the gi. And so it's something that I still try and strive towards is getting that black belt in the gi. So for me, it was a big accomplishment. That was more, emotional getting my purple belt than like winning MMA titles. Like MMA titles, pressure on myself that I'm going to win those, whereas achieving belt, like in jiu-jitsu is for me more meaningful. Because it's awarded to me by my coach.
How long is it taking you to get your purple
belt? About 5 years. 5 years of jiu-jitsu.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. So yeah, another 5 years for looking at the black belt.
We'll see.
It's one of the hardest grading sports there is.
Yeah, especially a John Donahue one.
He doesn't hand out belts.
Yeah. And I said, like, when it comes to the old school stuff, he's still old school with that. And it goes for a long time. I think the actual grading went for 3 hours. And it's like an hour of hard training where the guys that are going for belts, especially the higher belts, Shark Tank for a long period of time. And throughout the whole process, there's no water, there's no breaks. It's just hard person after hard person. Each round starts standing. And I'm in there with like heavyweights, you know what I mean? So it's like I'm going round for round.
So you're a freshie every time.
Fresh person each time.
For those who don't know what a Shark Tank is, a fresh guy jumps on you.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter what size or grade he is.
No,
you gotta take him.
Yeah, John Donahue will just pick someone from up against the wall, like you're in, and you've got to hold your own against them. You've got to prove basically to him that your technique is sharp enough that it works even when you're exhausted.
And being a flyweight makes it even harder when a heavyweight jumps on top.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on that because it is a big deal. A lot of people don't make it past blue belt.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest transition is from blue to purple. For me, that was a hard one. I found that transition harder than from white to blue.
Now you'll be taking that on into comp. You'll be doing I think you're going to do Grappling Industries or something.
Yeah, so I registered for Grappling Industries, which is next weekend. or this weekend coming up. I think it's it's next weekend.
Oh, we're gonna have to reschedule our photo shoot then.
Um,
Is it here or in Coburg?
Coburg.
Coburg.
Yeah. So that doing just the no-gi with that. I've done the way Queen Industries does it with they don't do by belt colors in no-gi. They do it off of years of experience. So I've done the advanced division before, which is the highest division, and I've come away with the gold in that. So so I'll be looking to jump in that again.
Do you do it for the experience or
just mat time competition experience? Feeling different bodies and also competing. Like something that John Donahue told me about. He used to train alongside with Rico Chiaparelli, who used to teach the guys wrestling at the guys like Randy Couture and Frank Trigg, back, like they called it the Raw Wrestling team, and Real American Wrestling, and he came from he was obviously a wrestling background for Iowa State, trained under Dan Gable, and had I don't know how many matches, but ridiculous amount of matches, and he ended up having an MMA fight, and he told me the story because I asked him as well. I was like, oh, is it worth me doing these grappling competitions before MMA fights? And he told me this story about Rico doing his an MMA fight, and when they tested when they did his medicals and they tested his blood pressure and heart rate, they were like, he was stone cold. He was completely calm as someone could be before they're about to enter a cage and fight, especially for a guy that's never done it before. It's his first fight, and for him it was because he's competed so many times before. He's competed throughout high school and college, and that it's just competition's competition. No matter what stage, no matter who it's against, you're always going to get the butterflies. You're always going to get the nerves, and you're always going to feel that pressure. Especially now, it's like I've built a bit of a name for myself. It's like I've got a bit more pressure now on my shoulders, where people from my gym training partners sort of have this expectation from me. So, I see it as a nice little mental test without having to go through, like a big one as much of a fight.
Yeah, well, you've had a few title fights now, so you've got a few under the belt.
Yeah, going through a few mental tests like that. So, but again, I'll do a jits competition, and I'll still get the butterflies, and I'll still get the nerves.
Even the top guys, there was like, I think it was John Jones was even one where he still gets nerves.
Yeah.
He goes in there, and you look at him, and it's like stone cold.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the difference. That's the difference that I've felt along the way, is that you still get the nerves, but you're better at handling it. You're better at dealing with it and performing with the nerves.
Yeah. So like everything in life, the more you experience it, the more of a grip you got on it.
Yeah. 100%.
So yeah, after that you've got the Oceanas in Queensland this year as well, I think.
Yeah. So over in Gold Coast.
I might actually fly out with you guys for that.
Yeah.
Just to see what it's like.
Yeah, because myself, Corey, is competing in that. I think they're doing some tryouts throughout the states. So
I saw that. I saw Richard Craney put out a video. Yeah,
so up and coming fighters that are interested in those competitions, they can go to those and then their name forward. So we should have a pretty strong Australian team, I reckon, this year. Probably the strongest we've ever had.
There's a lot of talent out there.
Yeah.
A lot of talent. And it's good that we have these kind of avenues now, because it didn't used to exist.
No, exactly.
Guys used to have to go straight pro.
Yeah.
Get their heads kicked in. But now you guys get to build up your base.
Yeah.
You get to,
And you get to have international experience,
at amateur level.
Yeah.
That was almost unheard of.
Yeah. Like when I competed in Bahrain over in the Worlds, I got to compete against one of, India's top fighters. And it's like, I wouldn't, I'm not going to get that experience fighting locally. Like, no one's going to ship over some person from a different country down here, So
I think a few of them come into Queensland.
Yeah. So now for the IMAF ones, guys travel for these ones. So we've like already there's been registrations from guys from Bahrain. And,
a few of the gold medals are coming down as well.
Yeah, so there's going to be some high talent coming over. So it's a good opportunity for Australian fighters who want to compete against the top level guys without it, being like on a pro record. It's a great opportunity for that.
On the last podcast, I was actually asking Corey, I'm like, how the Oz team?
Yeah.
I'm like, do you try out? And there's none. Not a week later, the video came out.
Yeah,
Try out. So anyone out there who wants to, get amongst these guys and fight for Australia in the Amis, definitely head down, try out, because it will give you a whole world of experience that you're not going to get fighting a local comp.
Yeah.
Like no disrespect to local comp, but when you got guys from all around the world fighting, it lifts it to another level.
And the tournament structure is on another level.
Yeah, that's just
a
bit too intense for me, man. Fighting 5 days in a row, staying on weight.
Yeah, exactly. It's a whole the whole experience that you get out of it is like it's next level.
On top, you spoke thoroughly about it with Corey, but flying over there, you're probably still jet lagged.
Yeah, I didn't feel right at all. I felt like I was on an elevator constantly. My head was just rocking up and down.
This is the first time you've been on a plane?
Yeah, well, no, I've been on a plane before, just domestic. I think the longest flight plane to Queensland. So I've never sat on a plane, so that was different. But yeah, the way I felt, I didn't feel right, but that's just part of the game, Like you got to find ways to make it work even when you're not feeling right.
Yeah, but you'd rather do that now than in the future, say, get called up to one or the UFC.
Yeah,
well, having to fly out for the first time then. So
exactly.
Get these under your belt now, because there's a lot of things that surround fighting. People think that you guys just jump in the cage and fight. There's the training, there's the mental preparation, there's the travel, there's a million things involved. And to be able to get that kind of experience before you become a pro.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want the first time that being the most important fight of your life, which is like your UFC important moment that you'll get as a fighter, and it's like that's the first time you're experiencing all those things.
You don't want to get jet lagged before that. Or, try and adjust. So now you've got some kind of idea how long it's going to take you to adjust when you're fighting overseas, the time zones,
exactly,
and so forth. So Corey, and you got to fund yourself.
Yeah, self-funding.
But I think you're going to get that back tenfold.
Yeah,
experience.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of shows like who's really serious about the game. I feel like it's those who are willing to make their sacrifices.
It is a big sacrifice to take time away from work, and family, and so. Well, what do you do when you're not fighting, man?
I'm pretty boring, man. I'll train a lot. I'll study a lot.
Study as in, are you at school?
Nah, study as in watching tapes, watching fights, talking about fights. I'll just talk about it 24/7. It's really I'll tell you, it's a hard thing in the dating game when you've got nothing good to talk about but just fights. So like the conversations last pretty short, and then you become just like a bloody meathead.
I find it hard to hold a conversation with people that don't watch martial arts.
Yeah.
I get bored really quickly.
Yeah.
I'll test the waters with people, like when I meet them.
Yeah. Some people are super interesting when they got something like, different, but yeah.
But as soon as they say like Conor McGregor's my favourite fighter, I'm like, nice, man. Nice to meet you.
It's been good.
So, I know you do a bit of video editing and stuff like that. You've done some pretty cool videos.
Yeah, well, that's something I used to do when I was younger. I did a bit of video editing, and so like I've just gotten back into it, and I thought, may as well just use some of my own footage that I've gotten from my fights and make little things,
Yeah, they turn that really well. And a lot of fighters should be doing that, even if they can't do it themselves. They should be getting people that know.
Yeah, and that's the hard thing about this. It's like, like training fighting, whatever. But then it's like you've got to learn how to like market yourself. No one tells you that side of the business, and you got to just figure out things along the way. You're like, oh, I gotta market myself now.
And it's not easy to do,
No.
especially if you're not a big, loud character.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm pretty shy. I'm pretty quiet. I'm loud when I fight, and I try to make an impact when I fight. Try to be exciting and always look for the finish.
Yeah, you're a completely different person when you fight, man.
Yeah, that's exactly what my coaches will say. Like Nick was giving me crap because he's like he's like when you're in the gym, you're training, you're like like real shy, quiet, like don't want to disturb anything. And then the moment I'm in the cage and I'm fighting, I'm all of a sudden loudest guy in the room, pumping my chest, screaming.
Yeah, I couldn't get over that, man. Because when I met you, you were really quiet.
Yeah.
You're a bit of an introvert.
Yeah.
And then you put together that compilation. I don't know, which tournament was that at? Where you're beating your chest and you're like,
oh, yeah.
Oh, is this the same guy?
Yeah.
It's
funny when the adrenaline's in the system.
I like that side of you, man. But it's good to have that contrast.
Yeah.
It is, because you're a good guy. You're good to talk to. You're fun to talk to. You're quiet. You're humble. But when you get into the cage, you're like, go fuck yourself. I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, just there's that switch that happens, and but like I love it. Like I love that's the moment I get to have that release. And I think
completely switch off in the fight. Everything else becomes irrelevant. Right?
Yeah, I feel like it is like an escape from reality in a sense like that, where it is. It's almost like a meditative state where you just any concern, any worries, all that stuff just goes out the window. Nothing matters at that moment. In this, it's very like selfish thing to go through, but that's what it is. It's just this is the most important thing right now.
Yeah, it is a kind of life and death. It's controlled.
Yeah,
and there's a ref in there to stop it and so forth. But you got to defend yourself and try and beat the guy without taking the damage. And you're pretty much a modern day gladiator without the whole death side of things. But yeah, so when you get in there, everything else is obsolete.
Yeah.
It's you, the other guy, and they lock that door and you go at it. One of you walks out with a medal.
Yeah.
It's that simple. And not many people get to experience that feeling.
No. Yeah, I remember the first fight, experiencing that was like nothing ever. I was like on a high for days. And I was just like, man, like this. And then as soon as it was finished, once the high had left, I wanted to experience it again. It's like an addiction. It's like, oh, I want to get that feeling back.
Well, it's really scary doing it the first time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember I couldn't. I brought a loaf of bread with me for my first fight. I just brought a loaf of bread, and that's all I could handle in my system. So didn't have a breakfast, piece of the bread, because that's all I could. Anything more, I'd start feeling sick. I'd start, I used the toilet probably like 20 times. So that's how I was feeling before the fight. So, it's a roller coaster.
I get nervous before these podcasts, man.
Yeah.
Like, the last one we did with Corey, 2,900 people watched it. And knowing that, I get nervous. I'm going to go for a nervous piss before the podcast.
Yeah.
But it's like anything, it gets easier with time and experience. And rolling off that topic, I want to bring up something that's really near and dear to both of our hearts. It's something that I've experienced and you've experienced as well. And it used to be a bit of a taboo subject, especially amongst tough guys and fighters. And I'm a 6'4" guy, and you're a MMA fighter. And a lot of people wouldn't expect this from us, but anxiety, depression, mental health issues. Now, I went through it in my, I think, mid-20s, and a little bit I was always a nervous kid when I was a kid, growing up. Whenever there was, we had to get on stage and do things, I would shit my pants. But I was also too nervous. It didn't seem right.
Yeah.
And growing up, I had a really easy life, really easy growing up. And in my 20s, I had anxiety, depression, to the point where it kind of like crippled me. And from chats we've had in the past as well, you've experienced some sort of, anxiety-related issues as well.
Yeah, very, very similar. As you said, like that, being nervous is fine, but then I'm just a shy person, but a little too shy, too like shy to the point where it's like I'm not even going to speak a word, to someone. It's and for me, it hit me hard in my later teens, you know, which are supposed to be the most enjoyable, moments of, they can be the most enjoyable moments of your life. But I spent the later end of my teens, um, in my bedroom, not able to, leave the house. Couldn't answer the phone, couldn't answer the door.
Didn't want to see anyone.
Didn't want to see anyone. I wiped off all my social media, all my things. So I had friends like reach out to me thinking that something, like that I died or something, like something had happened, because they were like, man, you just disappeared, yeah, no one really knew what happened. And I never, said anything to anyone. I never said, oh, it's a mental thing. I always just avoided the conversation, because it wasn't, back then, it was kind of like, wasn't really a known thing, or especially mentally weak, I can't handle life,
You feel like there's something wrong with you, and
so it's like, I'm not going to admit to this,
Yeah, that's why I saw it as well. It's like I'm not gonna go out there and tell people that I have panic attacks. Like,
yeah. No,
people are gonna think I'm a bitch.
Yeah, it was the most embarrassing thing to go through. Like when I'll try to push myself to go to school, panic attack to the point where I had to run out of the classroom and just had to make up some story like, oh, I just didn't want to be in class. You know what I mean? Like I had to be like cool about it. I didn't want to show anyone. I didn't want to tell anyone that. And like I'm surprised that my lies held up, that people didn't see it, because I was like,
because people didn't know shit about it.
Panic attack, you feel like everyone around you knows what's going on, because you feel like it's it's so serious. You're like, man, I'm breathing ridiculously heavy. Like
you get the sweats.
Like,
you feel cold.
Yeah, like I feel like you feel like you're making a scene. You know what I mean? But then like the person sitting next to you doesn't even know what's going on, and then so you just randomly run out of the room. Like no one, they just think, what the hell? Like,
yeah, it's look. When that happens to you, especially at a younger age, you struggle to comprehend what's going on with it.
Yeah.
And so I'm 36 now. So when I had it, it was 14 years ago.
Yeah.
People did not talk openly about mental health issues.
No.
Not at all. And I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought it was, you're a crazy dude, or you're weak, or something like that. For getting this kind of shit. But as time progressed, people started being more open about it. I met some of the hardest motherfuckers in the fighting industry that had the same issue.
Yeah.
And no one would talk about it. Everyone would hide it. And because of that, there was no way to treat it. There was no way to, for guys to support each other.
Yeah.
Like, men, we're different from women. We hide things.
Yeah.
And women go and they talk with their mum, they talk with their sister and stuff like that. But for a guy coming to go, hey, bro, I'm having a panic attack, it's not as easy.
No.
As that. But it is getting easier.
Yeah.
It is getting easier. What was your breakthrough? What made you feel better?
Well, I did so many physical tests because I was convinced that something was wrong with me, like with my organs or something. Like, biologically something was wrong with me. Even though like mental health is kind of biological in the brain, but I thought that it was like something wrong with one of my organs besides my brain. I was like, anything other than the brain, it's something else. Because I was, with mental health, you get physical symptoms. You know what I mean? You are sick, your immune system's low, so then you're getting a lot of illnesses. You're not eating properly. So I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping, it got to the point where like I was getting like hallucinations, because it was just like, I was so probably sleep deprived and nutritionally deprived, I was like,
you feel disconnected? Do you feel like you're but not there?
Yeah, it was sort of, I don't know, and you're not living, like you're just going through day by day, trying to like just survive the day, because you're
suffering.
Like, you're just like, I'll just get through today.
Tomorrow might be better.
Yeah, that's all it is, and and then after doing all these tests, and then them just being like, no, you're in full good physical health. it finally got to a point where it was left like there was nothing else but it has to be this, it has to be the mental stuff, you know. And once I accepted that and then got treatment on that, then that's when things started to turn around. And then and it was how I mentioned before, like how I got into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That was actually when I had started to connect again. You know, when I started treating the mental illness and treating it like mental illness and getting better. You know, it's a slow progress, as you know. It's not just instant. It's like a day by day by day. It started off with me connecting with one or two of my close friends, and then, you know, maybe I'll connect with a couple more people, and then slowly start getting back into routine, getting back in the world, you know, eating again, sleeping normally again. And then I finally got to a point where I was able to socialize with a group of people. And that's when I went to that party, and that's when I saw that friend that told me about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And that's when, you know, all those things came back. I was like, oh, that's right. I had these goals. I knew it. Like, I did have a passion for MMA. I did have all these things, because you lose all that. Like with depression as well, the mix of depression and anxiety, like all your goals go out the window.
You don't give a fuck about anything.
Nah, any dream, any passion just completely goes, because you're just like,
you just want to feel good again.
Yeah, that's it. Like, you're like I just want to get through today without my heart going crazy and without feeling sick and nauseous every day. Like, you know, that's all you want. That's all you're asking for, you know.
And like, some people are like, oh, just snap out of it, or just go to the gym and you'll feel better.
Yeah, exactly. Just go out. You know what I mean? Meet some people.
Talk to someone.
Yeah,
like, it's not that easy. Like, until someone's experienced it, they're not going to understand the level of fear.
No.
But like, it's. I just don't know how to try and explain it to people that haven't experienced it. How scared have you been in your life? Have you been scared to the point where you thought you were going to die? Yeah. Well, amplify that by 1,000 and add cold sweats to it and a million other feelings rushing through you.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring this up with you is because every day I meet someone who's suffering from it. Yeah. And I've come through it. You've come through it. And it's something that needs to be talked about.
Yeah.
And getting into martial arts is definitely a good one. Reaching out and talking to people. It's not taboo. Guys, girls, mums, dads, whoever's out there, if you're feeling shit, if you're feeling like you're depressed, anxious, don't hide it. Talk to people. Look, you got a champ over here. You got a guy that's set up a business and, you know, doing successful in life. It's not the end of the world. You get through it. It's temporary, and there are avenues to get through it, especially for blokes. I know a lot of you hide it. There's actually a group on Facebook. I think it's about 7,000 strong now. It's called Brothers Oz. A lot of guys jump on there and have a chat, and they talk about their problems, and guys that have had similar experiences, and we'll talk there. If you're having a really, really hard time, you know, there's Beyond Blue and those kind of numbers out there. So if you do need help, reach out. Nothing wrong with speak to panic attacks.
Yeah.
So there is a way out. You can be happy. You can still be a champ. You can still play MMA. You can still achieve your dreams. Whatever you're going through is temporary, and you're just going to push through it and get on. So, like I said, you can end up in the UFC one day.
Yeah.
You can end up in one FC one day, and you have gone through and you've come through. Very little fucks with them after that.
Yeah, little fucks with it, and you appreciate things a lot more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You appreciate the day by day. So, and that's probably why you're not as easily rattled by things, because it's like, if I go through a hard training session and it's the hardest session that I've ever gone through, and like everyone, like the grading, for example, you know, mentally I can get through that because I'm like, what I'm feeling right now is only temporary. Yeah. And I'm just grateful that I'm even on here and I'm actually able to do this, you know, because there was a time in my life where this wasn't even possible. For me, getting on the mat right now and performing like this, not even possible. And that's how I feel when I fight, you know. When I fight, I feel so free, you know, because I'm like, I get nervous and I get scared and all that stuff, you know, of course.
That's nothing compared to a panic attack.
Yeah, it's nothing compared to a panic attack. And it's like, and as I said, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful. I'm living in the moment. I go out like before.
You get a pretty big crowd as well, so that's a lot of energy. Man.
So like I walk out there and I feel the energy, and I just I talk to myself and I just like appreciate this moment. I'm like, appreciate this moment because like remember the moment, remember that time when you were that kid in the room that couldn't do anything because you were just so bounded by your own brain. So it's like now you're actually you've attacked that, you've met it head on, and you've gone through that. Now you're here and you're living your dream. You know, it's the most scariest thing that you could do, but this is what you want. So it's like, and now I'm like able to actually do it, and it's, you know, it's incredible. So I appreciate all those and that's why, like, you know, yeah, I'll travel to another country that I've never been to, you know, and fight, you know, in front of, and like the most ridiculous competition that I've ever done, because it's, you know, I'm not going to avoid things like that. I'm always going to meet those challenges head on.
Yeah. Well, once you overcome anxiety and depression, it kind of gives you this drive to seek. So, like for example, it's toughened me beyond any level I thought I could get to. Like, I almost lost my daughter last year. She was in hospital with multiple organ failure for just under 2 months.
Mm.
Me, 15 years ago, would have buckled.
Yeah.
I would not have handled it. But I was like, I can do this. I'm strong. I stick there. And it toughens you.
Yeah.
So, if on a last note, if you are out there, remember it's going to toughen you up. There is people you can talk to. There are avenues you can take. It's not. We know it's not as easy as go. Just get over it. Snap out of it. You can DM me directly. There's groups out there, like we mentioned. There's hundreds of groups on the internet that you can have a chat to.
Yeah.
But it's not the end. It will not get the better of you, and believe me, you will come out on top. And there's a million people out there that love you and will support you. So, moving on from this, what's next? What's next for Troy Boy Fumo?
Well, as I said, we got the Oceanias coming up, but overall, I mean, year and increasing every year, getting better each year, and outdoing what I did last year. You know, so this year it's about outdoing the workload that I did last year. So more fights, more competition, learning more skills. You know, getting improving. You know, so there's gonna be some big things I reckon for the year for me.
Got some exciting news as well. We can't disclose that as yet. There will be some cool news coming out soon.
Yeah, there's definitely some fights in the works. So, yeah, this year, 2020, you know, I think it's going to be a big year for me.
Yeah, well, we'll be doing a lot more work together, you and I. Like that Troy Boy Fumo t-shirt out there. We'll get a few more of those out. The glow effect one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got some really cool designs. We'll be working together, doing some photo shoots, some more gear,
Yeah, definitely
doing some
cool
promo.
things.
Yeah, there'll be some cool stuff coming on the front of Kingdom as well. So we got a lot of growth to do this year as well. Now, before we go, sponsors to your gym, your teammates, coaches.
Yeah. So first of all, obviously shout out to Fight Kingdom MMA. I'm alright, supporting my journey.
Always.
You know, it's been a pleasure, and great to growing with Base and Balance, and yeah, that's my sponsors at the moment. Obviously with
And we are looking for more sponsors, guys. Get on this train before it leaves and you miss out. So if you are interested in sponsoring Troy Boy Fumo, is the current, you know, demolition champ. He will have more belts under his belt. But yeah, he
a lot of championships, a lot of you know,
we
main event fights.
We don't just mess around with anyone. You know, we like to work with champs, and this guy's gonna be a champ. So if you are him, we can direct message us through any of the social media platforms. Through Fight Kingdom on Instagram, Fight Kingdom MMA. What's your handle on?
My Instagram's Troy Fumo MMA. So just one word.
Let's say if you're interested, it makes all the difference to AMI fighters.
Yeah. I said a lot of our stuff is self-funded. You know, our trips, our travels, you know, getting nutritionists, going through training and all that stuff is all our own funding.
Yeah, so people need to understand how difficult it is between full-time job and trying to become a professional fighter, which is the end goal.
Yeah.
So, and it's great exposure. Each show has about just under 1,000 people there.
Yeah, well, the crowd's just as big as a pro show,
Yeah.
and when you get that following, on social media, for on Demolition,
It was about 100 Troy Boy T-shirts.
You can just see all these T-shirts going around. So
which effectively become billboards for your business people. So you're gonna have 100 people walking around in a venue with your business on the back. It's gonna end up looking something like that, which is the Fight Kingdom one we've done. So yeah, if you are interested, it's ridiculously expensive. It's very affordable and it does go a long way.
Yeah, it does a lot for me.
Now, before we go, we give a shout out to all the sponsors that made the sponsored tee possible last year: Ultra, Motec, the Fire Safety Guy, Propel Capital, Kebab Man Machine Hire, A Matter of Clapper. My wife's going to kill me. A Matter of Platter, and Seafood Kebab House and Grill. Now, these T-shirts, we make them with the sponsorship money on the back. What we do with the sponsorship money is we help them, get nutrition, get training, get transport, get flights. So we do have this was last year's one. It was really successful. It allowed us to help out a lot of guys. This year we've got another one. It's almost complete. We've got 2 spots left because of a pullout. Now we need to fill those 2 spots. So if you are interested in getting in on this T-shirt, send us a direct message and it's completely tax deductible as well. So that's a benefit for your business. All right. Anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'll just thank my my teams: John Donahue Jiu-Jitsu MMA, Pro Fitness MMA, my coaches: John Donahue, Kara, and I'd like to thank the Kimikai team for allowing me to use their facilities at Beverlock. Those guys treated me really well overseas, especially Ed, looking after me when I was over there. So I'm completely grateful for that, because I wouldn't have known what to do over in a foreign country if it wasn't for his help.
Ed, the scary.
Those guys, they've helped me immensely in and outside of the ring. So thanks to all those guys.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for coming on, brother. I appreciate it. Thanks for sharing your story with us. Next up, we will have the promoter and what else would I call him? The Demolition Man himself.
Demolition Man.
Wayne Carl. He'll be our next guest on. We'll be talking about the event that's coming up in April this year. There's some exciting news going on there. It's definitely one of the top AMI shows in the country. So
I think it's going to be a good event, that one.
Yeah, it should be great. We'll see you next episode with Wayne Carl. Thanks for joining us, guys. Follow us at Fight Kingdom on all the socials. Peace out.